TIFU by bringing edibles to a New Year's party. So let's set the background information first. I have severe social anxiety and struggle being social outside of brief stints. I've been trying to use edibles to help myself overcome this. It's legal here, for the first time in nearly 30 years. I have a group of friends that I'd consider myself comfortable enough to begin to open up to and try to actively spend time with. I was invited to their annual New Year's party. Just a small get-together. 15 or so people. Let the record show. I've never been invited to anything like this before. I convinced Misa to go because I wanted to face my anxiety. We get to the party, and I take an edible to calm my nerves. Have a couple drinks and try to relax. A friend notices my edibles, and I offer to them. I decide screw it, and offer an edible to just about everyone as I had enough to do so. About 6 people say yes. 3 people being my friends. 3 being friends of the host. An hour goes by, and everybody is having a good time. Some people including the host decide to take a walk up a nearby store. While they do this, hell breaks loose. The host gets back from the store with the rest of the party to find the following scene which had just occurred. One of the people I offered an edible has abruptly vomited all over themselves. Keep in mind this is in a small basement bar. The smell hit us before we were even aware it had happened. And their significant other is just sitting there not acknowledging that they were currently resting in a pool of their own vomit. As Misa sprints over to help, they have completely blacked out at the table, but come to long enough to say that they ate an edible. This triggers their sa to shout at the top of their lungs. WHO gave. Redacted. The edible. I own up to it immediately, but clarify that I offered and they said yes. Turns out, said person had never had any sort of marijuana. And these are decently strong gummies. Instant hostility. The party has gone from better than I expected to worse than my anxiety could ever push me to find in the realm of possibility. The host talks them down, and Misa has cleaned up the vomiting party guest, but half of the party decides to leave. So, I sit there for 2 more hours, pretty much as silently as I can without making myself stick out as being on the verge of a panic attack. As less than 3 feet from me are an agitated host, a person passed out cleaned of their vomit but reeking to all hell. They're angry Misa who didn't even want to come to this party, all of who are throwing me glances. The host told me it wasn't my fault, but immediately after getting home, they messaged me trying to make sure I told them it was weed, and asking a bunch of questions, blaming me for bringing them without saying anything. I don't feel like I'll be invited to another party again, and if I am, I don't think I will go. TLD are offered edibles to everyone at a party, including a person that had never used marijuana before who ended up covering themselves and an entire table in vomit. You didn't do anything wrong. You told the person they were edibles and they wanted to and willingly took them. If they never said anything about this being their first time, then it's really not your fault. That person ruined their own night by being uneducated and adventurous. Off topic. I love how people are replying with NTA, but this is our TIFU, not our amethyst hole. On topic. Up. I'm you, and I know this will consume you inside. It's easier to handle other people's issues than our own, right? As an outsider, I can tell you it's not your fault. You didn't foo. It was an adult's party. You didn't force anyone to eat it. They made a choice and they have to live with it. Only thing you can do is warn people next time how strong it is and that someone who never tried has to take it slow. And you can even tell this story as an example. I do the same with joints. I always smoke pure weed. Most people mix it with tobacco and their joints is mostly tobacco. Whenever someone asks for a puff, It always goes with a warning that it might be a hell of a kick. Usually they only ask once. NTA. Not your fault. You told them what it was. Everything after is their responsibility. Although no one likes to take personal responsibility when it's so much easier to blame someone else. However, this is just advice. Never offer anyone any sort of drug, even weed, when you're out and about. If everything goes great, then great, but if one little thing goes wrong, the chance that it will spin wildly off the rails immediately is near 101%. And like I said, people love to blame others. Just saying. NTA. If the person was fully aware what they were consuming, they have no one to blame but themselves. Also, vomiting is a fairly strange reaction, so that probably couldn't have been predicted. The only thing you maybe could have done better was to reinforce how strong the edibles were as you gave them out. Having said that, any responsible adult really should ask, though I would always lean on the side of caution. Oh, you poor thing. Traumatizing for sure, but an innocent mistake. Just own it, apologize to everyone relentlessly, and use it as a glorious icebreaker at future parties. If nobody tells you that they have no experience with cannabis, then it's their own fault. Only thing you can do better next time. Ask them if they have experience. When in doubt, just give them half and tell them if it's okay. In an hour they'll get the other half. That's how we do it. I had a similar situation last month visiting my family in Florida. My brother is a huge pot smoker for years, and I smoked some pot when I was a kid. He had a vape pen with some kind of wax concentrate. I was like, F it, I used to smoke pot no problem. I took 2 big hits, and how wrong I was. My brother and sister were there and watched me forget how to breathe and sitting in the shower, vomiting on myself and sitting in it. Worst experience of my life. I wish my brother would have said it was some super ninja bastard medical grade wax vape stuff or whatever, but point being, he knew it was hardcore and should have warned me, but I also was at fault for being naive. Point is, everyone at the party knew what it was, but you could have warned them as well. When I took my special brownies to a party, I made a public announcement of what the brownies were and what could be expected. Made for a less interesting party as I scared people away from them. But at least people didn't ruin their nights because of me. Yeah, don't mix weed, hash and booze. That's a recipe for disaster. Not your fault though. They could have refused but went ahead. Not everyone has the same tolerance to edibles. And those made with hash hit so much harder. Cold sweat smile, your friends learned the hard way. Been there, done that. Actually, 3 people threw up and it was 100% the edibles. Well, there is a longer story, but the reality is you're not at fault. They were all grown up people. They should know if they can or can't handle. If people were throwing up from alcohol, would it be the person that bought its fault or the person drinking? There you have it. It isn't really your fault, with the exception that you should have clarified that they were too strong for anyone who wasn't a regular user, and that they should be very careful. Nothing wrong with a dash of edibles, but a lot wrong with giving someone drugs you know are way too strong for them. If you gave newbie people at the party more than 5 milligrams, then you did in fact mess up. Neither of the 2 problems are your fault, really. One hand. If they can't handle edibles, and they're an adult, they should know not to eat them, or at least be careful. So passing out and puking all over the place is on them. But the party being ruined is also not your fault, because someone passing out from an edible and puking a little doesn't kill a party. Assholes screaming at people can kill a party though. Seriously. What the hell were they trying to do by being hostile? That's what ruined the party. Not you bringing the edibles. They're just assholes. Was this person also drinking? I've never seen weed make anyone vomit all over themselves. I have seen the combination of weed and booze make people vomit. That's pretty reliable. Honestly, I wouldn't hang out with those people anymore if they continue to act like that. That's not a real friend group then. Real friends would come together, clean that person up, maybe take a cute picture or two after verifying they are just fine and cleaned up, and then some good-natured ribbing all around the next day. It's not like you slipped someone crack lol. You said what it was. They took it. Things don't go exactly smooth. That's life. It happens. I feel your pain, but it's not like you brought a bag of heroin or cocaine, and even if you did, I assume everyone at the party is a grown adult. It'll blow over, and honestly at some point it'll be funny and everything will be okay again. I'm sorry it ruined the night for you. You were just trying to have a good time. Fucking noobs and blaming others for their inability to handle their choices. You did nothing wrong. Sounds like you're partying with teenagers, or at least people who party like teens. F them if they don't know their own limits. Sorry you had this experience op. Anxiety is awful, and you were so brave to put yourself out there. I agree with what everyone else has said. This is not your fault. The so of the vomit guy should be pissed at their partner for making a dumb decision, not pissed at you for offering edibles. It's not uncommon for people to offer others drinks, edibles, or whatever else, and as adults we're responsible for what we put in our bodies. I know it still feels bad, even if you know it isn't your fault. I hope you don't let this experience stop you from confronting your anxiety in future. She probably vomited for too much alcohol.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.